Let's bring in Roger McNamee of Elevation Partners, co-founder there, to discuss it. Roger, Kanye West's Twitter account has already been reinstated. So there's one thing that has already changed. What else do you believe is going to change?
So, David, I think the big question is which Elon shows up now. There have been two modes through this process, right? The first that we all are familiar with is the engineer Elon, who sends rockets into space and built out Tesla. But there's also Jazz Elon, which is the one that says whatever occurs to him and has been the primary actor in the whole Twitter drama that we've seen over the last 6 months. To me, the key thing is he's now got to service $12 billion worth of debt. So I suspect that his actions will be more reserved than his words have been to this point. But the thing that we should all pay attention to is, first, as shareholders, this is a big win, right? Public market, fantastic outcome. But now as citizens, we have to worry about what happens next. And Twitter has been a horrifically managed company for a long time. And it is a place filled with hate speech, disinformation, and conspiracy theories. It's been a threat to national security. It's been a threat to public safety and democracy way before Elon Musk got involved. And the fear is that if Jazz Elon prevails here, that we're going to see more of the unpleasant side of Twitter, and that's going to be a huge downside. And I do think that's a legitimate concern, but because of the debt, I do think that's the one governor on this whole thing, and that he's going to have to, I mean, I can't imagine wanting to pay that out of his pocket. Do you know what I mean?
No, and not to mention he's put up a $25 billion of his own. He's got $7+ billion from other investors that include guys like Larry Ellison, Mark Andreessen, not to mention Bin Talal just rolled in. There are a lot of reasons you could imagine that he will take that other, the Musk that you talked about, and apply it here. What kind of positive changes do you think are possible? You talked about the fact that this has been an underperforming company for, man, as long as we can kind of remember it being a public company.
No, I think that's exactly right, David. I mean, let's face it, Twitter is one of the greatest product designs in the history of Silicon Valley. And yet the management team, each management team, has successively failed to capture a financial return that was commensurate with the import of the product in our society. And I think that's a huge problem. I'm a big believer in Scott Galloway's notion that Twitter could be like Bloomberg. It could be this premium service with three core markets. It has journalism, politics, and celebrities. And those three communities live on Twitter. And for them, having access to a Twitter that's less toxic would be enormously valuable. And so the notion that those people might spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a year in order to have a platform that was safe for what they want to do, and that everybody could view on Twitter for nothing, and that you would basically have some fee to put tweets up that would reduce the amount of bots and the amount of hate speech and disinformation. That model that Scott has put forward, I think, is a viable one. I've heard not a peep from anyone that that's likely to happen, but I do think it's possible. And, you know, I think that the people involved in this, they're smart people, and I can't believe they're just doing it, you know, to thumb their noses at the rest of the world. So we'll have to see what happens, but I think action is what we're going to have to look at here, not words.
Interesting. Musk did say in his open letter that, quote, Twitter obviously cannot become a free-for-all hellscape where anything can be said with no consequences. I'm curious, what exactly is the hellscape threshold for advertisers, for users? You've heard all sorts of threats throughout this process, throughout the last 6 months, but where do you actually think the line is?
You know, that is such an important question. And, you know, when I first became an activist about internet platforms in 2016, my assumption was that the line was something we crossed years ago, that fundamentally advertisers would want to be involved in something that was not full of hate speech, disinformation, and conspiracy theories. That has not proved to be the case. In fact, I would have thought politicians, celebrities, and journalists would be a better governor of the culture of Twitter than they have been.